Just close your eyes. Know the peace within.
Beloved GM, I am trying to solve problems by remaining calm and composed. But the problem is not solved. I am tired. Could you please guide me?
First, know that you are conscious of yourself. In your consciousness only, what you term as problems appear. First, know what this consciousness is. In deep sleep, you do not know your presence, neither the world nor any problems. Once you wake up from sleep, you know that you are conscious of your presence. Spontaneously, world happens. Every object happens. Every movement happens. Every sound happens. Where do they all happen? But for your consciousness, just now. Don't they happen spontaneously, just now, out of your consciousness? How do you know that the problem exists? Can you know any problem if you are not conscious? First, know that you are conscious of yourself just now. In your conscious presence only, everything begins, happens, and disappears. Once you know that your consciousness is prior to duality, duality cannot affect you. Once you know that your consciousness is unmoving and prior to movement, no movements affect you. Once you know that your consciousness is prior to object, no object affects you. Once your consciousness knows that it is prior to forms, no form affects you. Once your consciousness knows that it is prior to changes, no change affects you. Once your consciousness knows that it is prior to thoughts, no thought affects you. Once your consciousness knows that it is prior to emotions, no emotion affects you. Once your consciousness knows that it is prior to all happenings, no happening affects you. You say you are trying to solve the problem, but the problem remains unsolved. Once your consciousness knows that it is already prior to the so-called problem, no problem affects you. What you call as problem is nothing but the thoughts which have no life. Your consciousness is prior to life. Every life happens out of it just now. Unknowingly, your consciousness is identifying the thoughts to be itself, though it is prior to thoughts already. Thoughts happen due to identifications. When you stay beyond identifications, thoughts cannot happen. Your consciousness is unmoving. Thoughts are constantly moving. Your consciousness is unchanging. Thoughts are constantly changing. Your consciousness is prior to appearances and disappearances. Thoughts appear to disappear. You are yet to know the conscious state in you which neither moves nor changes, which neither appears nor disappears. You go on identify the thoughts which are nothing but identifications as yourself. Hence, you appear to solve the problems which are not you. First know that you only observe. In your observation, everything appears and disappears. Do you know that in your consciousness only, the world appears and disappears at an unexplainable speed just now? Do you know that in your consciousness only, every object appears and disappears at an unexplainable speed just now? Do you know that every object is only a reflection of light by the play of elements at an unexplainable speed just now? Do you know that your consciousness is never born, and whatever perceived in your consciousness within space is nothing but an unreal dream? Do you know that your consciousness is yet to wake up from the perceived dreamy duality show? Do you know that you appear to be inside the dream at the form level identity, though you are the observer prior to duality show? Do you know that the entire perceived manifested duality is spontaneously happening exclusively by the play of the elements at an unexplainable speed just now? Do you know that none of the happenings within the dreamy duality is real? Your question shows that your consciousness is yet to wake up consciously to know its unmoving, ever-present eternity prior to duality. There are no persons ever here. Every form is spontaneously happening by the play of elements at an unexplainable speed just now in space. When every object is happening spontaneously, exclusively by the elements, every movement is happening spontaneously, exclusively by the elements, every appearance is happening spontaneously, exclusively by the elements, every disappearance is happening spontaneously, exclusively by the elements. Can you remain worried about the movements, thoughts, which are happening exclusively by the play of elements? Are you the elements that appear, move and disappear? Are you the elements that happen spontaneously? Are you the happening within space? If you are the happening, then who observes all the happening? You are yet to know the observer prior to the spontaneous elemental play happenings in space. No, you are prior to space already. You are never born. What is born is only a dream state, which is not you. You are prior to dream and all the spontaneous happenings in the dream. Better wake up consciously to know that you only observe the duality show and you are already prior to the spontaneous elemental play in space. At least now, Know the conscious state within, which is unmoving, unchanging, and ever present. You are already free inwardly. To know this absolute truth, abide in stillness constantly. Know the spontaneous movements are exclusively by the elements, and you only observe the entire duality play, like how you observe the dream in your sleep state. You come to know that nothing never happens to you, the observer, only upon waking up totally from the perceived elemental dreamy play. Exactly now, your consciousness is still sleeping. Through the identifications at the duality level, by not knowing that the entire play is by the elements and you only observe the play. Better wake up consciously and know that nothing never happens to you, the observer.